So, like everyone else, there's a lot of expenses lately, and a lot of them I can do nothing about. I can do nothing about my insurance, my home insurance, my car insurance. Consumers have definitely lost leverage there. There's nothing I can do about taxes. A lot of expenses are simply non-negotiable. So I'm always looking for ways I can happily reduce negotiable or discretionary spending and still live my best life. So I'm going to talk about how I save money in the kitchen, some of the strategies I use. And the last thing I'm going to talk about is how I'm wasting money in the kitchen. So let's get started. The first and probably most obvious way is home cooking, and I'm going to do a whole separate video on home cooking. But I've been doing a lot of home cooking about the last 2 months. I stopped buying processed food. I'm just buying ingredients, and I'm doing everything myself just about. And it has been a transition, and it's taken some effort. It is not easy to do this, but I'm in a rhythm now, and I'm really liking it. For starters, when you buy ingredients instead of processed food, you have a lot less packaging, a lot less garbage to deal with. It's a lot less expensive, and I have seen my grocery bill just plummet, while meanwhile I have enjoyed great meals. And if you're ever on my community page, I sometimes put up what I've made or what I've baked, and I'm very happy with the quality of food I'm making here from scratch using cookbooks and the internet or whatever. So that has definitely been a money saver for me. So home cooking only works as well as you could cook. It's like trying to build a house and all you have is a little toy hammer. You can't do it. So I have accumulated appliances that I use all the time and which make home cooking better and more effective. I have a rice cooker and steamer, I have a waffle iron, I have a bread maker, a dehydrator, a bullet, a couple things like that. They're small appliances, but I use them all the time and they help make my cooking better. I, for the life of me, cannot make rice on the stovetop. I don't know what the problem is, I can't do it, but the rice cooker does a great job. The bread machine has saved me a fortune in pizza dough and in loaves of bread. It's probably almost paid for itself at this point. Not to speak of the blender. I can make my own smoothies. I can make my own waffles, all sorts of stuff instead of purchasing those things. They've made home cooking much more doable and satisfying. I am very careful with disposables. I do have paper plates here. I have paper cups. I have paper or plastic utensils. I have paper napkins. I have all of that. I think everybody should have it because there are times you can't wash dishes or something happens and you don't have the capacity to do that. And for me, several times a year we lose water here. There's just something happens with the tank, with the spring, and I'm so grateful to have the paper products here because I could just toss those out instead of dealing with a sink full of dirty dishes I can't wash. Of course, this year things will be a little bit different. I have the tank set up now where I can get water out of the tank for doing that sort of stuff, but just on a practical basis, it is just so much nicer to not have to deal with that or drag the dishes outside. So I definitely have those, but I rarely use them. My solution is, of course, I use the dishes I already have, and I also use cloth napkins. I have 2 sets of cloth napkins, a day-to-day set, which I keep here in the kitchen, and then nicer sets, which I use in my tablescapes, which are kept in a box in storage room. So I just use them. I'll use one all day, toss it in the laundry, and that's done. I also use paper towels and that sort of stuff really sparingly. Behind me, you'll see my paper towels and my shop towels. The shop towels have been there about 6 months, and the paper towels, I just changed out the roll a day or 2 ago, and we're talking about 4 or 5 months since I had last changed them out. I use the paper towels and the shop towels for 2 reasons or for 2 circumstances. Number one, if something that I am cleaning up is so disgusting I can't deal with it, like I'll just toss it in the garbage and that's it. or if I'm using a cleaning product like bleach and I don't want it to get anywhere else or on anything else, then I will again use a paper product. My solution for this is to use rags. I have cleaning rags. I have 2 big tubs of cleaning rags, old towels I've cut up, and some old t-shirts, which I use for most of my cleanup. And insofar as drying my hands or drying the countertop or drying dishes, I have a box of dish towels, which are also here in the kitchen, which I use, and when I'm done for the day, I just toss those in the wash too. And speaking of cleaning, I buy my cleaning products in bulk. If you've watched any of my refill videos, I get the big Mr. Cleans, the big Simple Greens, the big Dove, and I pour them into spray bottles, reusable spray bottles that I get at Walmart or Dollar Tree, and use those. And that is a lot less expensive than buying the little bottles, and just there's less garbage and less waste because you're just getting the big one and you're using it for multiple uses, multiple times. And of course the spray bottles are reusable. I even use reusable Swiffer pads for cleaning. I do have some of the paper or whatever that stuff, non-woven material that you put on the Swiffer, but as a rule I have these pads that are elasticized and go over the Swiffer, and I use those, and those are washable, and it's a one-time purchase. I have every single plastic bag and Ziploc mate. I've got 2-gallon, 1-gallon, snack size, sandwich size, quart size, anything, foil, parchment paper, all of it. Do I use it? Sparingly. When I want to store food, my first line of defense will be to use a reusable container. I've got reusable plastic containers with snap-on lids. I've got reusable Ziploc, reusable bowl lids that I can wash and reuse, and these smaller ones that I can use like on the end of an avocado or on the end of an onion or something like that. So all of those items do not end up being wasted or thrown in the garbage, but they can be washed and used again. The only exceptions I make are parchment paper, which is a one-use item, but I can't do without it. It saves me just so much time with baking and cleaning out pots and pans. And you know, I'll do some elbow grease, but I don't think that's the best use of my time or energies when I can just put parchment paper in. And the other thing I use one-use items for animal products. So if I have like cheese or fish or meat, I need to freeze it or store it, it goes into a one-use baggie or whatever, and then that is tossed after use. The ones that are not animal products, for example, something I put waffles in, yes, I will wash those and reuse them, but animal products, no. And finally, this all ends up reflected in my garbage usage. I don't have a lot of garbage. I know I live alone, which is definitely part of it, but even living alone, I end up with maybe 2 half-full little shopping bags, you know, like you get from Dollar Tree or something with the handles, plastic ones, maybe 2 half sizes a week. And I can usually put my bathroom garbage in there, and I have some garbage in the living room I can put in that bag too, and that is the extent of my garbage. I also have recycling, and I take that out to recycling. Now, right now, I'm at the smallest size garbage can available in my county, and that's fine. But if I were in another county, a bigger county, I know they have even smaller sizes because they take the regular container and put an insert in it, and that would be even greater savings for me. But right now, because of the how things are here, I have the smallest size, and it suits me fine. But it's definitely a consideration when you look at how much things are going up and services and utilities are going up. If you can keep some of your utilities down like garbage, then that's a win-win. And I also don't have a lot of food garbage because I compost it all. All my vegetable cuttings and peelings and all that stuff goes into the compost for my vegetables. The only thing I don't compost are any animal products, no cheese, no meat, no fish. with the exception of eggshells. Now I'm going to talk about how money is wasted in my kitchen. I have several appliances. I have a refrigerator, I have a oven, I have a freezer. I do not have a dishwasher. I am grateful for all three of those things. The freezer I got about 4 years ago, and that is a good freezer. I got it at Walmart. It's a small chest freezer, and that does save me a lot of money, and plus it's well insulated, so if we lose power for a day or two, everything stays perfectly fine in there. My refrigerator here is not the greatest. It does not retain the cold. If we have a blackout, it's in a few hours it's over here. Freezer's defrosted, everything. So I deal with that by I don't keep anything really important in the freezer up here, and if I do, I can transfer it. I do one transfer maybe to the freezer, the big chest freezer, and whatever's in the refrigerator. I always have ice packs, and I just pack it away because that keeps stuff colder than keeping it in the refrigerator that's not powered up. So that is, I would prefer to have a refrigerator that was more energy efficient and had better insulation, but my first refrigerator here for the longest time was a little tiny dorm refrigerator right there, and so yes, I'm very grateful to have this refrigerator after doing that. My stove and oven also is not real efficient, energy efficient or anything like that. It's small, it's 20 inches because I have a small kitchen, so I can only fit like one tray of cookies, a Dollar Tree tray of whatever in there at a time, because it also doesn't heat evenly. And if I have two trays, I'm opening it up all the time to move things around, front to back, back to front, up to down. So I generally just put one thing in at a time. And so, you know, anything that requires a lot of management or requires delicate cooking is not going to manage in there. Plus the top is small. It has 4 burners, but the burners are real close together, so you really can't use all four burners at one time. Maybe you could if your pots were small, but it's definitely very crowded up there. So that's kind of a roadblock. If I had my druthers, I'd have a bigger stove and oven where I could effectively make a lot of stuff at once, and I could do baking more effectively, especially at the holidays and other items. But that is what I have right now, and I'm also grateful for it because for the first couple years I lived here, I did everything out of a toaster oven and a hot plate. And I mean, I made Christmas cookies in that toaster oven. I did everything on the hot plate in a crock pot, and it was wild. But I cooked, I got everything done. One day the toaster oven just said it was over. It just stopped working. I was amazed it worked as long and as hard as it did. And that was the point. I was able to go out and get a regular oven. So I am grateful for it, but I think in the future, I'd love to have an oven that was more energy efficient, larger, and allowed me to cook in a more efficient manner. Not having a dishwasher is very energy inefficient. I think they've done studies, and dishwashers actually use less water than hand washing, and people don't believe that, but it's true, and I see it. I use a lot of water hand washing. I've tried everything, soaking things, not soaking things, and you just end up using a lot of water. And I don't feel things get as clean. And, you know, I clean things, I wash things, I know how to clean things, I know how to wash things, but there's something about the heat of the dishwasher, especially during the flu season, which I think is really important, and that is not achievable by hand washing. I don't care what anyone says. My kitchen is also highly inefficient. It's very tiny. This was a summer cabin for many years, and it was a rental, and now I live here. So the kitchen, and having a kitchen that did a lot of work, was maybe not a priority at that point. I do know that the bedroom behind me was the dining room at one point. There was a big pantry area, but they put this wall up, and they put a door to make another bedroom, which is appreciated. But some space was lost. My kitchen now spans multiple rooms. My cookbooks are in the bedroom because I have built-in bookcases there. I have dishes down under the house. I have dishes in the living room in a tall corner cabinet. I have some appliances in the room next to me. I have tablecloths in this room, and it's just kind of wild. And this kitchen itself is very crowded. So I think when you have a tiny kitchen like this and everything's spread out, it does create a great deal of inefficiency. Sometimes I just have a small amount of space to cook on or to prepare food, and it's just me again, but sometimes I like to prepare stuff for the future or process a bunch of vegetables for the dehydrator or whatever, and it is frustrating and it is crowded and it is not efficient. So those are my practices. I will say that I've seen they have saved me a lot of money in garbage, in groceries, in supplies, all sorts of stuff. I've managed to keep my monthly kitchen budget down very, very low and still have great meals and great food and have guests over and all sorts of variety. So I'm interested in what you do. What are your practices? Because I want to learn. I want to do more. What do you do? How do you keep things low? How do you keep your outlay low while still having a decent quality of life? I'm interested. The more things go on here, the more interested I become, and I think everyone could learn from you also. We're all in the same boat, I believe. So anyway, wishing you a happy day, happy cooking, and thank you so much for watching.